know in the past 2 years, though, if you look at the past 2 years, gold has outperformed crypto. So
I
after the
did not know
dollar to a
that. What?
thousand, after it went from a dollar to $1,000 when we saw Bitcoin emerge, from 2009, then when we look at it, it says the bear market has hit Bitcoin harder than we thought it would. And so that's something we can talk about maybe a little bit later on. Welcome back, everybody. It's Stuart Smith. I'm joined once again by Peter Safransky and Kevin Gray. If you missed our flagship, our inaugural, our big coming out of the gate interview, you can go ahead and find it right here below. We discussed a lot of great stuff. I'd like to tell you that we've got more great stock picks for you here today. We're going to jump into those, but we're going to also be talking about some big topics: crypto, AI boom. We're going to be talking about gold. And when we talk about gold, boy, it's really the prism, the lens that you look at gold. So many people see gold as a nuanced, sort of contrarian play to the stock market, which it is, but there's more to it. If you look at 2024, gold was up over 28%. Now, that doesn't seem as exciting when you put gold against crypto. So we are going to have some grudge matches here: gold versus stocks, gold versus crypto. And then we're going to throw in a dash of this AI boom. And it'll surprise you with some of the stocks. I know I was surprised. When I look at AI stocks, I'm thinking Nvidia, Meta, I'm thinking about Amazon even, but I wouldn't think about Netflix per se. But we're joined by our technical chartist, Peter Safransky. But before we get to Peter, Kevin, you were that annoying guy that used to cold call us and talk to us about gold. So give us a little bit about your background as someone that was pitching gold to potential investors.
Sure. Yeah. Right out of college, I ended up through a series of very funny events that I'll get into on another call one day. I ended up knocking onto the office of a cold call center that was selling private placement equity investments, which is not something that you really stumble onto, but I somehow stumbled onto it. We ended up pitching a facility. It's closed down now, so I can talk about it openly. We ended up pitching a private placement deal for Dome Rock Mines out in Nevada, and they were doing alluvial sand mining, which, if you're not familiar with it, what they do is they scoop up sand and then through a chemical extraction process, extract gold from sand using gold dust. And then they turn it into bullion through a refining process and all of that. But yeah, I was one of those really annoying guys. I have my pitch refined down to 30 seconds to qualify an accredited investor and see if they're interested in a follow-up call. And yeah, it's a fun world, but this is how we used to sell it. It was the hedge bet to the market. I was selling this investment, this private placement, to accredited investors right at 2011, 2012. Gold was hitting between about 1,500 to 1,700 on average, and nobody was investing in the stock market. Every single person I would call, they would immediately shoot me down, and then I would fire back at them, what if you could get your returns in bullion? And just the thought of getting precious metal put into a safe deposit box as opposed to having a stock market sitting or stock sitting on an exchange, that's how we were selling this investment. And so for me, I always look at gold as the hedge bet. I'm looking at a price right now of over $3,000. So it's much more lucrative than when I was selling this investment opportunity in private placements. And so it's a really, really unique space. And so that's kind of where my head's at. I've always looked at it as a hedge bet. Crypto, on the other hand, and we'll get into the other discussion side of this here, it's not looking like a hedge bet like it used to, in my opinion. And as we're seeing more companies scoop up the coin, as we're seeing more countries and provinces and municipalities and things like that scoop up the coin, it's turning more into that long-term investment. And it's no longer that hedge bet that it really once was, that decentralized bet that a lot of people were making. So just my 2 cents right off the gate here about it, just my personal experience too.
Yeah, and I think I want to blow your mind here with this, because this blew my mind when I looked at it. Do you know in the past 2 years, though, if you look at the past 2 years, gold has outperformed crypto. So
I
after the
did not know
dollar to a
that. What?
thousand, after it went from a dollar to $1,000 when we saw Bitcoin emerge, from 2009, then when we look at it, it says the bear market has hit Bitcoin harder than we thought it would. And so that's something we can talk about maybe a little bit later on. But Peter, I want to get to you because you have some stock picks for us, but you've also got, again, when we think mining companies, a lot of times, I don't know, for better or for worse, I do think of Canada. So you've got a proliferation, if I can spit that out, of mining companies there. And again, just like with crypto, just like with AI, there's different ways to invest in gold. You can invest in a junior miner. You can invest in some of the support around these companies, some of the mining drill companies, some of the assay companies. Talk to us about what you know, Peter.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of ways to play gold right now, and it is booming. I agree 100% with you guys. I mean, and I'll second Kevin's thing. I mean, yes, it's definitely a safe haven. That's what gold's been for many many years now. But it's all about geopolitics too, debt and inflation. I mean, all those things are catalysts for it to keep moving forward. And again, with the return of Donald Trump, geopolitics are going to be challenged in many ways, and with the trade war, inflation's going to be reaccelerated. So, those two factors alone are probably not going away anytime soon. On whether it's fortunately or not, unfortunately, it's a reality. So we don't know how long it's going to go for, but honestly, as long as Trump's kind of at the helm, I think gold's got some staying power and more upside. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's ran quite a bit now, but and it could continue to run. It probably will slow a little bit once a little bit of the uncertainty around Trump get diminished. I think that things will kind of slow down on the gold front side, but it's definitely positive for the next few years.
So let's talk about picks then, Peter. What do you got for us today? And by the way, when we look back, and we'll post up, Kevin, if you don't mind, maybe some of the picks that we did last week and how they've performed. And you can see how Peter said they would perform based on the technical side. Of course, Kevin and I were looking at more fundamentals. And even with a choppy market, a couple of our picks have done okay. So, anyways, but I kind of feel like we split the baby on those. They are down a little bit, which you said they would be, Peter, but they're not as down as much as some of these other stocks are. And even in the AI boom stocks, like a Palantir, PLTR ticker symbol. But what are your picks for us, Peter?
Sure, you want the gold one, or you want all the other sectors?
I
Probably just
want
stick
them
with the
all,
gold.
Peter. I'm ready for them all.
You want them all. All right, so let's do it. Well, I'll start with gold since that's the one I was talking about initially. Just generally, if you look at gold or resource companies in general, most of them now are nice uptrends, and at least for the last several months. So they're all looking kind of sexy. Well, maybe not all of them, but a good portion of them are looking pretty sexy. And just if you review the allpennystocks.com's by the numbers feature, which does provide a daily list of actionable bullish trading charts, most of the results are in the precious metal space. One stock that did come up that I really kind of did a second take on and did a little bit more research on is America's Gold and Silver Corp. It is traded on the TSX, symbol USA, very convenient. And on the NYSE American, it is USAS. I'll focus on the Canadian symbol here, but the US one will move similarly. So I like this chart because when you look at it from a multi-year perspective, the bullish run appears to just be heating up over the last few months. So I'm looking at it right now. Basically, it's flirting with its 52-week high, and I think it is going to break it as gold in general is moving. If it breaks it, there's a massive air pocket above it. This could run easy to 140 in the next few months. And then on the downside, setting a stop loss around 65 cents is probably a good play here. So again, good upside to downside risk on that one. Let's take a look at AI. So, and we'll talk more about that as well. But on the AI front, the company I've really liked for quite some time and I've been watching closely is Versus AI. So they are on the OTC pink sheet. They are symbol VRSSF. And on the CBOE Canada exchange, which for people that aren't aware is the old Neo exchange, and they are VERS on the CBOE Canada exchange. So while I always focus on the technicals for these stocks, fundamentals are very interesting here, and investors should definitely review some of the recent press releases, just how they match up with DeepSeek and with ChatGPT, etc. Very interesting stuff there. So looking at the chart, the stock had over a 50% retracement from that early January high that it hit. It's got solid support here around 70 cents. With this one, I'd like to see a higher high and ideally develop to confirm a resumption of the uptrend. But and that would basically mean a close above 90 cents. So you generally want to wait till about 90 cents to get in on this one. However, if you don't want to give up all that upside, that potential upside, another way to play it is just to set a stop loss around 66 cents, ride it all up to roughly, I think, a good 120 level is easily attainable if we get any whiff of bullish sentiment in that sector. And it's been brutal, but it will turn. It always does. So once you get that bullish movement again, 120 is, in my opinion, pretty easy to attain. That's some nice upside to downside risk right there for versus AI. And then lastly, on the crypto side, I'm going to talk about C2 blockchain. That is on the OTCPK, symbol CBLO. Now, this one is a client company of all penny stocks, so I'll talk more on the fundamentals rather than the specific trades. This one's very interesting. It is basically drawing on the wildly successful business model of MicroStrategy, which you guys probably are aware. I mean, they basically... And if you're not aware, for viewers, they're the first publicly traded company to adopt Bitcoin as a primary treasury asset. So they basically buy up Bitcoin, hold it indefinitely, and ride the wave up. And we'll talk about Bitcoin in general. C2 blockchain looks to draw on that idea, but it's got its own twist to it. They're pursuing Ethereum, so they're basically accumulating Ethereum rather than, with the exception of MicroStrategy buying Bitcoin. Other points to note, they are going to become a crypto miner. They're doing a strategic investment in Cardano with the idea of buying initially 100,000 ADA coins, up to a million of these coins soon, or in the long term. And then lastly, they've partnered with CoinEdge to launch a crypto lending platform. So it'll enable users to unlock liquidity in their digital assets without selling them. So a lot of cool things here for anyone interested in crypto, especially since this company is just getting ramped up right now. So bit of a ground floor opportunity for investors. So those are my 3 picks, 3 different sectors. Like them all.
All right, great, Peter. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you bringing it to us, and we'll take a look at them in about a month when we reconvene, even if it's only in a couple of weeks, and we'll see how those are performing, and again, do a checkup on the ones that we did in our initial first. Kevin, anything from you, any pick-wise, or any other closing thoughts on AI or anything else you want to clean up for us, Kevin?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't think anybody wants any more picks from me because Target's now sitting at 105. And so Peter called that one. He was spot on with it.
Sorry.
I'm still averaging down. I'm going to say it boldly. I am still averaging down on Target, even though we are hitting the same lows that we were hitting back in 2023 at this point.
Buddy.
I really like USAS. I really, really, really like America Gold and Silver Corp, Peter. I've been looking at this chart since you mentioned the ticker symbol. Might have to place a bet. I'm not much of a chart guy, you know that, but I can recognize a cup and handle pattern when I see one. And that is by far the boldest looking teacup I've ever seen on a chart.
If you look at it from 1 year, it's a little bit pricey, but if you go back a few years, it just looks like it's just about to rip. So I agree.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I don't think I'm going to put a stock pick on the table here because I've kind of just been watching your guys' stock picks to see. I got that watch list, an alert set for Rocket Labs at 16, Stuart. So I'm still watching that one like a hawk too.
Yeah, I picked up a little bit at 17, and I picked up another one, GFF, but that one is not on our topic list for today. So maybe I'll figure out how to get a company or a topic for that company into our next one. It's a nice blue chip. We look like we have some pretty affordable stocks today, which I'm here for those as well. But that's going to do a wrap for us. I appreciate everybody's input today. I mean, again, we're sort of talking about classes of things, and if you look at AI, it's the most recent, with crypto being right behind that. Then we've got gold and stocks, which are again, we're going to say that in a bull market, we want to stick with the stocks. In a bear market, we want to stick with gold. But that's, again, a lot more nuanced these days, as we all pointed out. But for Peter and Kevin, this is Stuart saying, hey, thanks for hanging out with us today. Send us your comments, your questions. We're just starting this thing. We'd love to get your input on how we can make it better and more exciting and informative for you. So give us a subscribe, a follow, a like, and we'll talk to you next time.